Welcome back to the PT Graduate Podcast. My guest today, Mr. Pablo Steinman. Hey, Pablo.
Hey, how are you?
I am very well. Great to be able to connect and have a bit of a chat. Really
Yeah, thank
appreciate
you
your
for
time.
thank you for having me. It's always fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it is. I love the connection opportunity. So for people that don't know the name, I mean, you've been in the industry for a while and you've spoken at conference, so I imagine it's not a completely unheard of name. People will have heard of you, but they may not know you as well as they could. So tell us a bit about what you do, where you do it, why you do it,
Oh,
all
yeah, I
that
want
stuff.
I want so many things. So let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm born and bred in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I've been in the industry for over 25 years. I studied obviously doing all my work in Argentina, studying as a
Mm,
personal trainer and PE teacher.
right.
Sports physical trainer. That's basically the education over there. Yes, you can get a course to become a PT pretty quickly, but when I was doing it traditionally, we would become PE teachers first with
Right.
4 years, a 4 years long, degree
Mm,
basically,
mm,
and then that helped me fast track the process after that, having that previous education. So I did my physical sports training education after that. That is also another year or two. And eventually we transfer all that knowledge into personal training. So I
ah,
did the long version rather than do
yeah.
the quick and easy.
Good on
At the
you.
moment felt, wow, some people can do a few months and start working, and I did it in 5 years, but eventually that paid off because it really gave me
Yeah.
a robust level of education
Mm,
that allowed me to have eventually opportunities that I wouldn't have felt confident to take on if it wasn't for that.
sure. Sure.
Uh, After that, yeah, a lot of different things that happened personally because you can't see me from sitting, but according to Google, I'm 6'4". It's 195 centimeters tall. That led me to grow very, very fast, and that a lot of questioning in terms of what makes the body move and
Mm,
grow,
mm,
coordinate, be effective at stuff. I guess that it started me very early in this path, and question a lot of different things that work or didn't work for me specifically. That obviously that was my itch that I had to scratch that led me
mm.
to this path that eventually I ended up studying what I did and land me here. Working in Argentina, that was fun, exploring sports like football and handball, that is the Olympic European handball,
Hmm.
that I played for close to 30 years.
Right.
That I ended up coaching different sports as well. And then obviously I thought Argentina is becoming too small for some reason, so I went for a big, big place like New Zealand.
Nice one.
Led by, yeah, I just needed some spread my wings and
Mm,
try something different. I had a couple of friends that came to New Zealand before me,
mm.
and I felt that was something I needed to change the air a little bit. Came to New Zealand, and after a short period of time, I thought if I'm gonna stay, I need to really explore if what I love and I'm passionate doing can be done here as well. And I started my
Yep.
path in New Zealand.
Ah,
Yeah, and long story short, working in my thing, some swimming coaching too,
okay.
exploring new avenues and style of coaching people. And eventually, with my teaching degree, the teaching and coaching became a thing as well. I joined different communities. I actually found my tribe in the next level community as well, just to
Yeah.
just to put it all together and share what I know with
Mm,
some people that they're aligned
mm.
my curiosity and crazy thinking. Yeah. Then what is it? Yeah, I guess 2 kids later,
Yeah.
11 and 8. We're now here, living the father life, the pro life, and seeing
Cool.
how far this can take me. Really, that's the
Like
story.
it. Love it. Yeah. So what were some of the opportunities? You mentioned there were opportunities that sort of presented themselves to you earlier in the career. Was it sporting? Was that what you were hinting at?
Yeah, I guess that the way that I would put it is in parallel, a couple of different things. In terms of professional opportunities, one was personal training, 101, trying to figure out what makes people tick one at a
Mm,
time.
mm,
That would be my biggest rabbit hole, really, because I realized that very quickly that the models that I was taught the musculoskeletal model pretty quickly. Just that one wouldn't be enough to
Yeah.
really make the difference that I wanted to make in people
Yeah.
in terms of their life and performance. And I'm happy to share the personal experience that I had that led me to that belief. And
Sure.
another one was the sporting one. It's Argentina, so of course we played a lot of football, and I was teaching kids how to develop the skill. I was coaching handball as well.
Mm.
I played some tennis and swimming. So I wanted to see how that not only improved people's performance, also looked for that athleticism and that performance when it
Mm.
mattered for results,
Mm. Mm.
more than
Mm.
just making whatever I have better.
Yeah. Yeah. And that sort of led you down a path of creating I guess, an approach to coaching through mind, body, spirit. It's multi-level. It's not just about the physicality of it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I could not see it that way anymore.
Right.
So I'm happy to share one experience that really triggered this for me.
Mm. Mm.
It was in the beginning of my career. I had my degree for a very short amount of time at the time, and I started to do mobile coaching back at home in Argentina. And in a very short amount of time, I was training a young mom, a mom of two or three, I can't remember. And I thought, I don't know that much, but I know that if I give them a very balanced training program, or a really, about 50, basically 50% cardio, 50%
Yep.
resistance based, I thought this is a great place to start because I'm going to be able to give them a little bit of everything. There's no way I can do this wrong if I do this mindfully.
Mm.
And then we'll take it from there. We'll obviously still personalize. I'm going to tidy it up a little bit, but we need to get to know each other, so it's a good
Mm.
place to start. I thought it would be a
Mm.
well-balanced place to start. Very shortly after starting, this new client recommended me to one of her friends. So from a profile point of view, they were very similar. So I took them in a very similar way. So I offered this second person a similar place to start.
Sure.
So now I have two people very similar in paper starting a very similar program.
Yep.
In a very short amount of time, the results could not be more different. One of them basically expressly told me, I love the cardio. You can make me run forever, but please don't give me crunches, weights, or anything like
Mm.
that. I hate it.
Mm.
I don't like it.
Mm.
Obviously, I went like, yeah, yeah, of course. But with my limited knowledge, I will try to go from what I knew towards what they asked me rather than
Mm.
just drop everything.
Mm.
So I went with her, giving what she liked, but also topping up the other bit that I thought it was
Yep.
also important.
Yep.
But you can imagine, for the sake of the story, the other person told me the exact opposite.
Sure.
She told me, please give me weights, resistance training. I can do push-ups in my dreams, but please don't make me run. I hate it. I don't want to do any of it.
Mm.
And I did the same. Yes, of course, we're going to personalize, but I still wanted to give her this balance training.
Mm. Mm.
Fast forward to the end of the year, that was short of a year's worth of training. The person that wanted, they were happy to do cardio. We did the 10K Nike Buenos Aires run,
Yep.
where from the kilometer 5 all the way to the end, there was live bands playing on stage. So you could hear them coming to, there
Mm.
was a band playing live 50s music in kilometer number 5,
Yep.
and
Yep.
so on and so forth. So you can see them, you can hear them coming in, you can still hear them a little bit more. And there's a
Yep.
period of silence, and you hear the next band up.
Mm.
It was super fun. I did it with her, and then we basically were dancing. Every time we heard music, we were running, but we were dancing to the music, just to
Mm.
create context of how much fun we
Mm.
were having while in the context of a race. It was a fun race,
Sure.
but still a race.
Yep.
So we finished the race. She was super happy. Family received her on the other side. She was celebrating all the way to the end, huge smile on her face.
Mm.
And when I caught up with her after, like a couple of days after, she said, like, that was super fun. I don't even feel tired. I enjoyed the whole thing. But the progress on the weight stuff of things, on the resistance, was not that significant. Was definitely there,
Mm.
but not huge.
Mm.
Now let's go to the other person.
Mm.
I had to start taking extra weights with me, things to work with this person, because she needed more weight, she needed more variation.
Yep.
So I had an array of different sort of exercises, materials. You can imagine, from
Mm.
weights to ropes
Mm.
to medicine balls to I had to take my car because I used to go in bicycle, just to
Yep.
take extra stuff for her because she basically progressed that far.
Mm.
very little, barely significant, a little bit of running here and there, but not that
Mm,
noticeable.
mm,
So for me, you can imagine that it really blew my mind that just because somebody really loved something and hated the other thing, you will create such an impact on the results. So that was a kickstart for me to go, there's something else clearly outside of my training of muscular, skeletal, cardiovascular knowledge
mm,
that is
mm.
clearly creating results for people. So that started me to go into other aspect of performance. In this case, there was their mind and then how they saw things
Yeah.
to lead me to the different degrees and different routes of knowledge from workshops to certificates to,
Mm,
you know, you
mm,
name it, all
mm.
the way to this day, 25 years later. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, some amazing differences between people. Do
Yeah.
you do you find those differences can be sort of bucketed into different types? Like, is there a particular body type that lends itself more to preferring the weights to the cardio, or is it more about their history in terms of what they did as a child, or is it more really it's a sort of mental thing, like they just they just don't consider themselves a runner.
That's a very good question. My best answer is yes.
Okay.
Because we definitely have a lot of science that investigates different aspects of
Mm,
people. That can
mm,
definitely help. Sometimes we can find different tendencies that can help us, guide us on facilitating a
mm,
connection between people and the knowledge that we have to give them.
mm.
But I'm always open-minded that things can be different because the people's stories, right? Like life stories and how they ended up the way they are,
Yeah.
the families, the place, maybe the place in the world that they grew up with, the way that they
Mm,
used to, the culture that they live in, the different kind of families or the lack of a family.
mm,
Yeah, there's so much moment in life, maybe a few years
mm.
before, 2 years now, interest, like, so I'm always ready to, even if I have some training that will lead me to believe that they have that tendency, for
Yeah.
example, a body type or something like that, or a
Mm,
profile in terms of personalities,
mm.
I'm always ready to change that around and see the person that is in front of me because
Sure.
yes, it will help me to connect with that person in front of me and make it a more accurate training program.
Mm.
But I'm always ready to use the information in front and use it straight away to facilitate the process.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, yeah, that's good. Meeting them where they're at.
Yeah.
I hated cross country as a kid. It was something that I just detested. I came last. It was always in the middle of winter in the UK,
Yeah.
so ankle deep mud. And I've kind of gone full circle with it. As I've got older, I've become a runner, and I was client B, and now I'm client A from your story. Um,
Interesting, isn't it?
yeah, it's weird. If you gave me a choice, I'd rather go for a run than lift weights. Like I like lifting weights, but I don't like them as much as going for a run. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's an
Also
interesting.
stages in life, right? Like
Mm,
I study
yep.
psychology. I'm a life coach. I'm a trained life coach and ontological coach is my degree.
Mm,
I'm mindfulness practitioner. Let me in the route of trying to understand. And then one thing that is relevant to what you were saying is that maybe when we're young, we try to fit in. And then
yep.
eventually that becomes into developing who you are, your own identity. And
Mm,
after that, maybe trying to attract the opposite sex or whatever,
yep.
we feel that we need to do in that particular moment in life.
Mm,
And then after that, whatever helps me to feel strong and healthy, because we need to have a
yeah.
vital moment in our lives, maybe between the 20s, 30s, maybe early 40s. And then eventually we sort of more settle and then things starts to hurt. So maybe I need to change my goals and objective into, you know what, I'm just gonna do what really makes me tick.
Mm,
But
mm,
maybe in that period, things starts to fail. So I need to start looking into things that it will make my body tick the right way and not having just to survive my pace and ache. So that's why we still have to, like you said before, still look into the person that is in front of you, meet them where
mm,
they are, because maybe
mm,
even the same person, sometimes I met people a few years ago and then I meet them again now. And
mm,
then I need to be ready, like, instead of thinking I already know you because I met you 10 years ago,
mm.
the person that I see in front may be a completely different human.
Sure.
Even needs, or even just, I just need or want something different.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned the ontological training, and I picked that up in my background research, and I
Mm.
actually went to look it up and find out a little bit more about it. Now, it sort of explained itself, but it didn't. And there was a video of a guy ready to go on YouTube, but I didn't have time
Mm.
to watch the video. So
Mm.
can you kind of help me understand it better? Because I think I understood it, but I don't think I need full
Okay.
explanation.
Okay. How much time do you have?
Oh, all day.
I think that if I have it like the famous elevator speech is basically the science of human behavior. We're trying to understand via
Right.
some tools what explains humans' behavior.
Okay.
Is about body, mind, and language. And
Right.
we use the language. Ontological Language is a book by Rafael Echeverria. It's a Chilean guy that did a lot of like we're trying to understand language because in the end of the day we communicate a lot
Mm,
non-verbal.
mm,
When we do become verbal and we use that, we create way more than we think we do. Because as soon as you do that, that energy and is coming out of you and started to create changes in the people that listen.
yeah.
And then you're doing one thing that is expressing yourself, and that
Mm,
shows us already who you are when you express yourself. And
mm,
also you're creating something in the person or the people that listen to you.
mm,
And that is always creating because if I keep on saying one thing over another about myself, that changes things on me.
yep.
But it also changing things on how people react to that. So I'm also
Mm,
changing the reality around me. So we think a lot that we describe stuff, but
mm,
we tend to or recreate them or create them new when we speak.
right.
As an ontological coach, I listen how people talk because they show me a lot of who they are, how they see themselves, how they see reality through their own filters, because
Yes.
just to see what they see as possible.
Yes.
They're gonna see them as that's reality, that's me. But for me, it shows me who you think you are, because that's gonna
Mm,
show you certain possibilities and
mm,
other ones that maybe we see as possibility, but they don't. That's not a thing for me.
mm,
Automatically, completely oblivious that those
mm,
things are possibilities. For me, it's my job to show them these are possibilities. And then you get the choice to see, do I want them in my life or not? You get to choose, I'm happy the way things are, that's fine. Or I didn't know that was an option. Now that it's an option, I can take it.
yep.
Also learning how to use language because, the way we use it, we generate connections with people, the lack of opportunities. So when we talk, we need to pay attention the way we do that because it's an action more than a description. I didn't leave things as they were. As soon as I spoke, I started creating changes.
Mm, mm,
So that's the language aspect of it, if I'm good
yeah.
enough to explain it. And
Yep.
then obviously the body and the mind is just to understand the impact that all language has. The inner thinking, because if you start observing your own language, we have two different points now. The one that is observing and the one that is doing something.
Mm, mm,
So once we start separating, we can see from different aspects all of these the interconnected aspect of us that makes us behave the way we do. And it clearly has an impact on the body. For me, it was very relevant because of what we were talking about before. Somebody's in a talk was making them behave in a particular way that created physically a huge result difference.
mm,
So for me, I wanted to understand why you thinking about something made you completely change things. And as an
mm,
athlete at the time, because I was competing in a high level, a high performance handball team,
mm,
it made me realize that sometimes I perform higher or lower based on the way that I interpreted the game. So if I thought it was a very important game, maybe I was nervous. But if I interpreted something like it's just another game, then I relaxed. But the game is the same. So I approached it differently. So as a
right.
coach, I was thinking, is that something that I could get into to help people to get my own performance obviously benefited, but also other people's? It's all about interpretation,
Mm, mm,
right? And I used to observe tennis as well in the same way. Like it's just two rackets, a ball, and a net, and some lines on the floor. Why would a final feel any different than a game in the beginning? It's because we put value in. So, so all of this was so intriguing for me that I had to get in it just to
mm,
offer that. Obviously, for me, I was curious, but also to offer that to other people because they started to show me that created a huge impact in their life and performance. So that was triggering
yeah.
me to get into this ontological coaching. And for some reason, because as you can see, I like conversation, the language aspect of things, really
Mm,
blew my
mm,
mind.
mm.
And you can imagine that it was double when I had to do it in my second language as well.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. That's a stretch. It's interesting because I'm fascinated by that same thing from an NLP perspective. That's the language component of who we are, what we're saying through the words we use, as well as obviously the body language which you referred to. Um, do you see any patterns, any common themes coming through when you're talking to people and you might hear a limiting belief or a disbelief in people's abilities to do certain things that you see it straight away because you've seen it before, and it's like that's the word or that's the phrase that tells me I need to work on their limiting beliefs, for example.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Happens a lot. Like you were saying that sometimes some things have been studied. So, and obviously that's my experience after more than 25 years of experience, but it's also we learn from other amazing people that did it before us, and they
Mm.
sort of guided us and fast-tracked us to be able to help people a little quicker. And then some of those patterns come up pretty quickly. Obviously, sometimes it's, you know how it's sometimes it's easier for you to notice other people's behaviors more than your own.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a little bit of that, right? It's like obviously for me to live in New Zealand, sometimes some things that people here do becomes a bit more obvious to me because I
Mm,
come from, from this different planet, Argentina, and I can and my culture is very different. So when I come here, I see these traits. Maybe other people don't see it because everybody behaves in the relatively same way.
mm,
But as soon as I come in, it's like, wow, we clearly see the world differently. And obviously, even more specifically to fitness, to movement, to sport.
mm,
All you have to
mm.
do is to see how Argentinians live passionately our sports and support our national teams, very different than other people around the world. Just that
Yeah,
enough shows you
yeah,
the
yeah.
difference of points of view. How for us it's so natural, right? But when we go somewhere else, it's such a different approach to it all.
Mm. What would you say are the biggest differences?
In between an Argentinian culture and the Kiwi one.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So many where to start. We, for example, have very little filters. Uh,
Right.
we, I have a lot of fun saying this to people on purpose. We consider opinion a national sport.
National.
So we have a
Okay.
lot of them, and we have very deep opinionated thoughts about stuff.
Mm,
So, and we're happy to share them very loudly. For some people here, that feels very confrontational because
sure.
over here, we tend to be a little bit more, from my point of view, kinder, more allowing other people space,
Yeah.
trying not to be confrontational, trying to make sure that
Yeah.
we keep them at peace, generally.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Argentina, that's not a thing. I'm just gonna, hey, I just met you. Here's my opinion, and a very strong one, by the way.
Right.
I think the understanding we have over there is that because I'm allowed to have a very strong opinion, you automatically are allowed to also have one yourself.
Mm,
The thing is, if you have that going on for you, you come from Argentina, and then I have a very loud, strong opinion about something, and then you have one as well, and we're going back and forwards. This is such a natural thing for us that neither of us will take it personally. At the end of a very full-on conversation or argument, we can be best friend and hey, we catch up tomorrow for
sure.
another one of these with
Yeah.
no problem whatsoever.
Right.
But if you come with that attitude here, expecting the other person to be like you, like, hey, here's my strong opinion, and the other person doesn't do that.
Mm,
It was only one person doing a lot and the other one just receiving it.
mm,
And then eventually, as an Argentinian, you will see like, wow, I wonder how they felt about my
mm.
dumping all these strong opinions on, and the other person never really shared them with me. So this is not an equal
Yeah.
sharing, isn't
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it? I had to
Mm.
sort of soften my approach that way because
Sure.
every time I go back and meet with an Argentinian, other people sometimes think that you're arguing.
Right.
Uh,
It's that aggressive.
well, but that's the thing, right? Like we don't hear that's the thing that I was telling you about before. We don't hear that aggressiveness because for
Sure.
us it's superficial. This is who I
Yeah.
am, and that's a
Yeah.
subject that I'm having fun with
Mm,
you. Football,
mm,
religion, politics, something that could potentially even be controversial.
mm, mm.
But underneath it all, we're just normal human beings that we live our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We don't take that personally,
Mm,
generally speaking, again.
mm.
So I'm happy to have a full-on conversation about a subject. And then move on to my life pretty quickly. There's not much of an
Sure.
issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But if you don't see it the same way, somebody can be deeply offended if your opinion was not aligned.
Yeah.
So, well, we had to soften our ways a little bit because in the end of
Sure.
the day, we don't, especially in the line of work that we do, we're here to help. I'm not here just to. If I was an opinionologist in the television and you get paid to share opinions, sure.
Yeah.
But when we do this line of work, I'm here to help.
Mm,
So regardless if I have an opinion or not, we're here really to connect. and
Mm, mm,
to help people connect themselves to what they want and who they are
mm.
being. So really, it is navigating that experience that sometimes is not very easy, because it's in our case, it's toning it down rather than toning it up.
Sure.
Oh well,
Yeah. It's going
we are
against the grain.
navigating. Sorry.
It's going against the grain for you.
Yeah, well, I chose to be here, right? Nobody made me
Yeah,
come
yeah,
here, so
yeah,
it's a learning experience.
yeah.
Even though that it is a multicultural country, you see a lot of cultures being mixed. It's an interesting experience to meet the locals and see
Mm, mm,
how we're so different, and
mm.
how what we do makes other people respond in one way or another.
I think that makes it's the sign of a good coach, isn't it? To be able to connect with potentially a stranger or someone you don't know very well,
Mm.
and make sure they're the focus of the conversation and the I guess the outputs of the coaching is all about them and not
Yeah,
about you.
exactly.
And I suppose different personalities are going to get on with other personalities better or worse for whatever reason.
Yeah,
And a good coach is able to put themselves in the background and make sure that the client is the focus, I guess.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
I don't know much about handball, Pablo. I mean, I
Mm.
should do, but you're gonna need to educate me on handball as well, because I don't think I've watched much handball. So
Yeah. Ah, it's fascinating.
is it like a lower net version of volleyball?
No, no. I think that
No.
imagine for a second that I'm gonna marry football, the real football, the one with the feet,
Yeah, yeah.
and water polo. That you grab the ball with your hands and pass the ball and throw to score goals.
Ah, so there's no net. Yeah, okay,
No,
got
no,
you.
no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's basically imagine a football with hands.
Got you, got you, got you.
So
Right. So
you're
you've got
gonna
a
pass.
goalkeeper.
Exactly. You have two goalkeepers.
Yes.
There's an
Yeah.
area in which only the goalkeeper is allowed. That is
Yeah.
it's a half a circle that is a six
Yeah.
meters diameter,
Yeah.
in which only a goalkeeper is allowed,
Yeah.
and two teams plays against each other. It's a contact sport.
Mm, mm.
It's one level down from rugby. Rugby, the contact in rugby is part of the play itself. Is not
Yeah.
considered an issue.
Yeah.
Handball, it is.
Yeah.
Like in football, you can get penalized for contact,
Mm,
but
mm.
it's sort of an advantage is a big deal. So if somebody's playing and the play wants to continue and you're getting
Yeah.
fouled, the referee won't call the foul if the ball can continue and still be on your benefit.
Got you. Okay.
Therefore, allowing more contact from the defenders
Mm.
and the attackers being okay with contact because if you
Yeah.
can't stop me, I will get the hit and keep going.
Sure. Got you. Got you. Okay. It's quite fast paced, isn't it? Is it the
Very.
size of a netball volleyball?
It will be no smaller than the netball.
Smaller.
Yeah,
So
yeah, smaller.
easy to
You can
get
grab it.
one
Yeah,
hand
yeah,
around. Yeah. So you've got
yeah,
those one arm throws,
exactly.
and your rotator cuff would have to be bulletproof, right?
Oh my God. Like, I know that I'm biased when I say this, but I find that it's the most complete sport there is. Why do I say that? Is because it has individual skills by itself. So you can
Mm,
move in every single angle plus
mm.
rotations. Then you have a component of an element. So you have to interact with an element that is the ball. Because if you're a gymnast, for example, you just move your body. In handball, you have to move your body and you also have to move an element. But then
Yes.
you play with your teammates, so you have to strategize defense and attack both. So you're a
Yep.
specialist laterally,
Yep.
but you're specialist you're actually attack and defense both.
Yep.
And then you have contact on the other side, so you have to interact with defense.
Yeah.
So it has so many different components. Has a social component, has contact, has an element, has throwing and running and jumping and movement in every single direction.
Yep.
So, except, you know, basically being in water, you can basically say that you're doing everything in handball.
Got you. Got you. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a super fun sport.
Yeah.
Do everything. And as a developmental sport, because somebody once asked me, if you were teaching somebody, if you choose a sport as something that it will really give a child a lot of skills from an athletic point of view to develop
Mm,
themselves.
mm.
Again, I'm very biased about it, but yeah, handball is the one that gives you everything.
Okay.
Uh, because you have a coordination, upper lower body, the whole lot. I remember when I was becoming a PE teacher, a lot of people came to become PE teachers from different backgrounds. And I found from personal experience that the handball players were the best ones and adapting to play any other sport compared to other more specialized. in other sports. So if he
Right.
was a football player, would be amazing at feet, but maybe upper body not so much. If he was a
Mm,
gymnast, maybe you gave them a ball and you would hit them
mm,
on the face. So it was it was the one that has a handball players. We were easily transitioned to almost any other sport.
right. Right.
Anyway,
Nice.
happy to have that conversation deeper. But I developed that opinion from there. Yeah.
Let's organize a whole nother episode to go into that in more depth.
Ah, sure.
Um, so a couple of other things I noted down. So high performance seminars, workshops. What sort of seminars, workshops do you enjoy delivering?
Oh wow. Look, at the moment, I'm so ready to serve whatever the audience needs the most. Because I can happily go down different rabbit holes. When there
Okay.
was, I think in New Zealand we have the stress, is that highly stress or anxiety depression period of the year that I think is
Mm,
like a week of some sort. And I end up doing seminars about mindfulness and how that affects the nervous system, and then
yeah.
talking from that coaching point of view to help people manage stress differently. And my approach to stress is, I found that it's very different than most people. And
Okay.
the short version of that is that the common denominator at the moment is looking at stress as the bad guy, and the
Mm,
solutions
mm,
is to minimize stress. I highly disagree with that. We don't want to soften the world for people not to have challenges. Challenges makes us
yeah.
grow. So my different point of view, we have to embrace what stress is and manage stress.
Mm,
The issue is that we lack skills of how to manage stress when it gets bigger or smaller, because if it's too small, we want more challenge because we
yes.
grow.
Yeah.
If it's too high, then we can become ill or we can get injured. It's hard to manage them. So we
Yeah.
can manage the
Yeah.
the environment that we're in, or challenges we choose, but we can also manage our skills. So there's
Mm,
different ways to meet this in the middle to find
mm,
the holy grail that is basically flow,
yeah. Yeah.
just to have flow. And obviously that varies. So we need to develop our skills to catch up with this. What's going on with us?
Mm,
And then
mm,
why is this so relevant for us in the fitness industry? Is because we basically stress managers. Every time we give an exercise to a person, it's a
yeah.
stressor by definition.
Mm, mm,
So we are stress managers, and we're basically giving stressors to people. So we do our job well, people adjust to those stressors pretty well,
yeah.
and they get gains. But if
Yeah.
we don't, people get overwhelmed or injury or underwhelmed, and then do a lot without actually getting results.
Yeah.
So that navigating that with understanding stress as what it is rather than
Mm,
what we're trying to run away from is a very different approach.
mm,
Another one is, since I've seen the anatomical approach, if I can call it that way,
yeah.
from the fascial system
Yeah.
approach, understanding anatomy differently has led me to look at the body in a completely different way. It's
Mm,
hard to
mm,
go back to what I find a very limited approach, that is just the muscular skeletal system,
yeah.
that it becomes so limited that potentially can become not incorrect, but basically incomplete.
Mm, mm,
Uh, so from my point of view, understanding the fascial system, I know that it's very new and we still have to learn a lot about what it is and how it functions. Just a little bit of glimpse into it has given us a massive amount of reach, of further understanding and further helping people perform better. And since I've understood this a bit better than before, the level of results became truly extraordinary. And when I say extraordinary, it's not just value, it's extra, like outside of the ordinary. There's not
mm,
anymore
mm,
just somebody lost some weight or
mm,
get a little bit of body mass. That is, it's pretty cool. There's nothing bad about that. But when you help somebody from this understanding and somebody behaves better physically, and then suddenly the whole self-esteem changes, or the immune system improves, or
mm,
I just find pleasure of moving compared to before they identified with us as somebody that didn't get along with movement and exercise. Like the life-changing things that I have seen, observed, and facilitated just in the beginning
mm,
of my
mm.
understanding of this, uh, led me to believe there's no way back now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once you
Yeah.
see it, you can unsee it. And the science keeps on backing that up. I haven't found anything that goes against it, so I'm going with it. And the more I understand it, the more fascinating it becomes. And as you can see from my passion talking about it, it's like we need to share this. How can we
Mm,
not? And I don't see, this is another thing that I wanted to share in the conferences when I had the chance,
mm,
is that it gives us fitness professionals a unique, very empowering position that I don't think any other health and wellness professional will get into.
Mm,
A lot
mm.
of, from my point of view, a lot of other professionals will get as good as they can get within their specialty or speciality, speaking properly. They're going to
Yep.
become better nutritionists or better physios, but I don't see them becoming better at the connection between all of those different aspects. That's a true leadership position that in
Mm,
reality belongs to the person trying to live their life. But this is when we get to serve people, reminding them the leadership role they have. And if they don't, this is our role right now.
yeah.
Here's the exercise
Yeah.
you can do. Here's the changes you can do in your life to remind them how powerful they are. And if they don't, that's it. That's what we can make that connection with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, doctors will talk about their medicines and then nutritionists will talk about the stuff. But there's not many people that feel truly empowered to make the connection just to
Mhm.
that help them to move
Mm,
forwards.
mm, mm.
And
Yeah.
I only see one profession getting into the space, it's ours.
We're uh, we're privileged, aren't we? We have the opportunity to have the most connection with our clients versus all the other health professionals they may come into contact with, and we can make a really big difference.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's awesome. Um, it's probably about that time, Pablo, because I don't want to keep you for too long, and we've covered a lot of ground, but been a really good chat. What would your top tips be? Give me. I don't know how many. There's no rules on how many, but what would
Mm.
Pablo's top tips be? Whether it's business, personal, whatever,
Yeah. All right. That's so generic that I can go anywhere with this.
any way you like.
At the moment, I'm very inclined for people to remember this idea of connection,
Yeah.
to really flow in life and to really get maximize this time that we have in our
Mm.
lives.
Mm.
Is we need to connection inwards and outwards.
Yeah.
Inwards to what makes you tick in particularly, what works for us and what doesn't work for us. It's a
Mm.
moment of individuality,
Mm.
pressing the pause button and go, what really works for me? What's important for me? And what do I really want to do with my time here?
Mm.
And then at the same time, putting outwards.
Yeah.
Is this the environment I want to go in? Is this environment helping me grow and contribute? Or this is actually killing my vibe? And then this is not really the person I want to be with, the place I want to be with, or the
Mm.
environment I want to be with.
Mm.
Because we sometimes lose that. A lot of people forget a little bit about their values, happy to sacrifice their time and energy for things that they're not truly connected. And I think the word connection there will make a huge impact. So that will my tip number one, connect.
Yeah.
And exercise will be the same now. If this doesn't work
Yeah.
for you, maybe another one does.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I like it. I like it. Yes, that's connection on more than one level. I like it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And then you're about to
Mm.
like stuff. You know what I mean? Well, because we
Yeah.
get we get told a lot what to lean into, the right thing
Mm.
versus the bad thing, or what's better
Mm.
than others. But we are allowed to have a particular opinion. I like this better than this other thing, and then flow with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Nice.
guess that connects to the tip number two. Uh,
Okay.
that there's a lot of things out there. Choose the one that connects with you, and then along the process, you keep on checking, to see if that actually is the case. It's a lot of different ways to grow.
When you say there's a lot of things out there, do you mean choices in terms of education?
For example, if you're developing as
Yeah.
a pro, yeah, there's a lot of
Mm.
different ways to grow and trying to understand how people think.
Mm.
So why not choose what helps you to connect with people? Because I have an interest. Naturally, I'll
Mm.
be curious and I want to learn. So you probably help people much better doing that than if somebody else gave it to you, telling you the truth of the matter.
Yeah. 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 I like it. Cool. Any others on that list?
Oh, wow. I tend to go from general to specific. Another tip for pros would be try to understand what makes a human a better human way before we specialized. Meaning
Okay.
we tend to use a lot of exercises in the gym. I see that every day that we very specialized
Mm.
and try to make people better at those specialized situations and losing a little bit of the general perspective of how people move. An example of that is I've seen a lot of people become much better at a heavy lift, for example. But then I see them walking from that exercise to the change rooms and they cannot walk properly. From my point of view, would be if the exercise makes your movement better, I think it's a good exercise. It's clearly making your humanity improved,
Yeah.
whatever that is.
Yeah.
But if your humanity has to be sacrificed so you can be better at that exercise, then that's when the mark is lost.
Mm. Mm, mm,
So that would be my way to measure is whatever I like is taking the mark or not. Obviously, that changes if somebody's a professional, for example, because they need to specialize.
yeah.
But for the rest of us, yeah, if it takes away from your human performance, it's probably
Mm,
not a good idea, at least not
mm,
at that time.
mm, mm. Yeah, I like that. We kind of make assumptions that everybody needs to lift their heavy deadlift, and that can compromise other things. But oh, they did the
Yeah,
deadlift, so well
yeah,
done.
that's right.
Yeah.
And the industry is proving that to be a good point because we have
Mm,
way too many people getting injured a lot at the
mm,
moment, and that's
mm.
statistics. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pablo, where can people find you to have a chat or a further conversation? I've got your website.
Yeah, basically my
Any?
name, Steinman Coaching.
Yeah.
And that will find me in all socials, Facebook,
Ah, okay.
Instagram, LinkedIn, and my website.
Excellent. I will add those to the bottom of the bottom of the show notes underneath the episode so people can hit the links and make contact. Thank you so much for your time,
Amazing.
Pablo. It's been a really interesting conversation.
Amazing. Thanks so much for having me.
No worries. And we'll lock in that episode 2 on handball next time.
Sure thing if it helps. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Pablo.
Cheers.
See ya.